Hi, Mike. Just want to ask you about after both teams look a little sluggish in the second half of a back-to-back the other night. Do you expect a bit more free flowing, a bit more trading chances in this game now that each team has had a day to rest?
I hope not. I hope we're not trading chances with a team like this, but obviously the schedule, it is what it is. Everyone's kind of in the midst of a lot of games in a short period of time. So obviously back-to-backs, there's maybe not as much energy, but I thought both teams kind of just, it was kind of a chess match more than anything, and whoever kind of made the most mistakes was probably going to lose that game. Unfortunately, we were on the right side of it and got a big win against a team that's playing really well right now. So I think obviously we got both had a day of rest yesterday, and I think both teams will come with more energy, but I hope it's not a game of back and forth chances, that's for sure.
At this point in the season, how much are you guys looking at the standings and looking at the opportunities and seeing how either the gap below you is closing or the opportunity above you is? You guys look at that a lot going into a game?
I mean, it's hard not to. I think especially with when you're playing the teams, so many times, especially in back-to-back situations, and sometimes three in a row, you're making up ground or losing ground. It seems like very quickly. So I think you're always keeping tabs on where you're at, and how important every game is this year is wild. So I think it's kind of fun to be a part of, knowing that every game is so important. Every game, you can't take a night off because you lose a couple, you're moving up and down the standings pretty quick. So I think it makes it fun. It makes it every game that much more important.
Reed Wilkins, 630 Chad.
Thanks, Sean. Hi, Mike. Just maybe a bit of a different angle here. I mean, the Jets have guys like Connor and Scheifele that can really fire the puck. Over the course of your career, can you give me a couple guys whose release you considered top of the line and gave you and other goalies fits along the way?
Well, I mean, there's one guy out there that's pretty good. He just stands in one spot, and it's coming, and he's got a pretty good release. But playing with guys like Modano way back in the day, and Stamkos, the two guys you mentioned are right in the same category as far as shots. Austin Matthews, obviously everyone knows what kind of shot he has, but I think there's numerous guys throughout the league now that can shoot the puck real well, and can beat you in different spots in the ice if you're not ready for it. So I think it as a goalie, it makes it challenging, but you have to be on top of your game and expect the unexpected.
I mean, I know players watch a lot of video these days. How much in your mind during a game is a player's tendency to shoot to a certain area on a goalie? Does that like how in the forefront of your mind is that during a game when a guy's lining up to shoot?
I honestly don't think about that, to be honest. I'm a goalie that kind of goes with more of reads and situational than maybe looking at stats as far as where a guy shoots more often than not. So I think obviously you have in the back of your head where maybe you've seen goals go in before, but it's more, for me, it's more just kind of reading the play and making sure you're staying sharp and, like I said, ready for, the kind of unexpected shots and the dangerous ones. So I think obviously you see tendencies, especially when you're playing teams more often than not, and you try and get the best read you can on them. But these are good shooters, good players, and they're constantly trying to change too. So I think it's just something that it's an everyday battle, and you're just kind of in there trying to make saves when you can.
Ryan Rashog, TSN.
Hey, Mike, if one of the signs of a good team is kind of knowing what to expect from yourselves every night, you can kind of bring a familiar game each night. What are you seeing in front of you just in terms of your group's ability to do that? And do you think you're developing that here over the year?
Yeah, absolutely. I think we've talked about it a lot. We've found ways to win different, in different ways. And so easy for me to say, but yeah, we've been in different types of games. We've been behind and came back. We've been in close games. We've been fortunate to have big leads in some games. So I think it's valuable. It's valuable to be able to do that through the course of the season and get used to playing in close games, get used to coming from behind in games, and some games are fulfilled with power plays and penalty kills, and other games doesn't seem to be much space out there and much going on. So you have to try and win a 5-on-5 battle. But I think it's all valuable confidence and valuable information that goes in kind of back of your mind when you're going into games that are important every night. And obviously heading into playoffs, you want to be as prepared as possible. And what better way to do that than to be in close games throughout the course of the season?
Yeah, and I guess, making the playoffs is obviously, the thought process, but is it good for your group? And do you guys think, like, never mind making the top four here, like, you guys could win the division? And is it okay for you guys to think about that and for that to be the goal, to win this division? I mean, you're right there.
Absolutely. I think you don't want to just be satisfied with getting in. Obviously, everyone wants to get in the playoffs, but I think we've put ourselves in a position right now to be able to fight for that number one spot in the North, and that's exciting. There's a lot of games left, but we feel like we're in a good spot at this time of the year, and we want to keep pushing forward. We want to be one of the top teams in the league, and to do that, you want to be on the top of your division, and we have an opportunity to do that. We just want to keep pushing forward, game in, game out.
Jim Matheson, Post Media.
Mike, you were in Dallas with Marty Turco. Were you always a puck handler when you were a junior, or did Marty teach you some of the tricks of the trade?
I was, but not like Marty did it. So I think he definitely taught me a lot about handling the puck and different situations out there for sure.
What did he teach you?
I'm not going to give away my secrets. No, you know what? It was just more the confidence of getting back there and playing it. And I mean, I've probably repeated this story numerous times. I can remember one of my first games in Dallas that I came out of my net and made a mistake, and then there was a dump shortly after that I didn't go back out and retrieve that I probably could have. And the next TV timeout, I'll never forget it. I came to the bench and he's like, he looked at me, he's like, "What are you doing?" I'm like, "What do you mean?" He's like, why didn't you go get that dump? And I'm like, "Well, I didn't want to make another mistake." And he's like, "No." He's like, "You go back out there. You don't show the other team that you're rattled. You don't show your teammates that it bothered you." And so that's kind of stuck with me for the last 14 plus years, that, that stuff that's made me successful, you don't stop doing it because you make a mistake. So Marty was a big influence on my career, and especially the puck handling part of it and being a pro. And I was fortunate enough to be able to, spend some time with him and learn from one of the best puck handlers ever. So it's obviously rubbed off on me in the right way.
And from what I understand, you're a heck of a ball player as a kid. Did you ever think of maybe being a professional?
I love ball. I played up till probably I was 17 years old, and I didn't play hardball. I played fastball, and the opportunity to go far in fastball was a lot less than hockey. So I think, looking back, would it have been fun to give her a try? Absolutely, but I think I made the right decision.
Kelly Moore, CJOB.
Hey, Mike, what would you attribute to the, there've been 21 overtime or shootout decisions in the North Division this year. You guys have only been involved in one of them. Is there anything you put your figure on as to why you guys have been able to get it done in regulation or not force overtime, if you will?
Yeah, I think I talked about this a couple of days ago. I think it's something that works kind of both ways. We've been able to close out close games, which says a lot about our group and the dedication it takes to close out games in the third period when you're up a goal or two. And then on the opposite side, I think we've been in games where we've had chances to get points also and kind of maybe fizzled away. So I think, I don't know for whatever reason why it's been like that, but like I said, it works both ways. Fortunately, we've been on the winning side of most of those. And but as it gets closer to playoffs and every point counts, like you're in close games, you want to close those games out and not let teams get, that extra point. And I thought we've done a pretty good job of that so far this year.
So is that systematic or maturity or maybe a combination of both then? That 17-0 record with the lead after two periods, that's got to be some kind of badge of honor in the room for you guys.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's something that our team's really bought into and taken pride in, and is protecting the lead when we get it. And obviously we know how important it is to have the lead and to play with the lead. And when you're confident in those situations, it means a world of difference. So I think our group's done an unbelievable job at closing games out. And it's a lot easier to hold on to a lead than it is to, come from behind. So I think it's something that obviously has been talked about and guys recognize. And it's exciting to see that we're getting rewarded because of it.